Hi there. I'm just back from being away from camping, being down at the beach, stuff like that. And I'm going to share my sermon for the day. Today is the day that we remember baptism of the Lord. And the readings for today are from Isaiah 42, 1 to 9, and Acts 10, 34 to 43, and then Matthew 3, 13 to 17. Anyone been camping? Anyone been swimming in a river? What's it like getting into the water when you're in the river? It can be pretty horrible trying to get in slowly, but it can take a bit of guts to just jump in. It's kind of terrifying being in the cold water, but you're perfectly held by the water as well. It's a step away from drowning or freezing, but it feels peaceful. It's incredibly cold, but you feel soothed from the hot air and sun that we have at this time of year. The sand and the stones provide somewhere stable to stand, but it's hard to see where they are. You have to feel around from them, and sometimes you find something that you just don't know what it is. It's something that when I've been reading some stuff from Sione Hevea, who is a Bible scholar, what he's been saying about it, and he's saying something sublime. It's wondrously terrifying. Sitting in the water, we might notice the reeds, and we might be reminded of scripture from the prophet Isaiah talking about ancient Israel at a time when they'd been defeated by their enemies and taken away from their homeland, and they're feeling pretty bruised. And he says, he will not break a bruised reed. For Christians, this reminds us of Jesus, who accepts us in our brokenness. Sometimes we might feel like a bruised reed, damaged, battered, ugly, but Jesus accepts us and holds us like the water of the river, nourishes us and restores us. We have to come up out of the water, but we feel invigorated because we've been held by the water. We've faced death just like Jesus did, and we've returned and we feel changed. I'm not in hell. We've come up out of the water. We feel invigorated because we've been held by the water. We might go and sit by the fireplace to warm up, dry off, and there's just some coals there glowing. We might remember something else from the book of Isaiah. He will not put out a dimly burning light. When there's some dimly glowing coals in the fireplace, and when it's safe to have a fire, we don't put out the coals. We don't say, look, these are dim, we might as well get rid of them. We care for them. We give them some more fuel. We make sure the air can get in. We might blow on them a bit to get them flaming again. But we're reminded again that when we're doing this, we're encountering something wondrously terrifying as we're embraced by the warmth that's coming off the fire. We're aware that we have to keep it under control and in its place because it can be dangerous. The water and the fire remind us of baptism. John baptized Jesus with water. He washed Jesus in the water of the river. The water cleans us and nourishes us and changes us. In baptism, we've faced death and returned like Jesus. But John said that Jesus would baptize us with fire. That might sound frightening, especially at the moment. And we'll go through frightening things. But fire also cleanses us, purifies us, strengthens us, and we come out changed. Once we've gone through these ordeals, what is there that we need to be afraid of? Baptism brings us all into the family of God, where everyone is welcome. Just been talking about Isaiah's hope for ancient Israel. They had this dream that they would return home and they would be able to show the world how to live the way that God intends. And for us Christians, what Isaiah describes sounds a lot like Jesus. Someone who will not rip out a broken reed, someone who will not look at a dim light and say, well, it's not very bright, might as well put it out. Someone who doesn't look at us and see our disabilities, our vulnerabilities, our limitations, and doesn't dismiss us. Someone who will not forget us and leave us in our predicaments. We've also heard Peter's account of the gospel, and it says the same. God doesn't have any favorites. Anyone who fears God and practices righteousness is acceptable to God. And I need to repeat that in a different way because we don't get the full sense of this when it's translated into English. Anyone who fears God and practices justice is acceptable to God. That is what the Bible is talking about when it talks about righteousness. Righteousness and justice all goes together. Peter says that the way of Christ means peace. When there's justice in the world, people don't need to fight. They don't need to fight each other. But even when the big, strong men of Jesus' time came for him, he didn't retaliate with violence. The big, strong men of the world killed him in a great spectacle, so everyone would know that this is what happens if you step out of line. But he returned from the grave. So our baptism is a sign of that mystery and that hope. We've gone through a mysterious experience where we're immersed in the drowning waters and we return reinvigorated and strengthened and cleansed and changed. There are going to be trials ahead, but we know we can face them because we've already faced death and returned with Christ. We don't need to be afraid of judgment because he is the one who is judging us and he knows us. He knows that we've been through the same things. He knows that we have been through his baptism. We've been immersed in the drowning and rejuvenating waters like him. He knows us because we've eaten at his table. We don't have to worry about judgment because in this sense, the judge is our brother. And we've been baptized so that we can follow in the way of Jesus, standing up for our neighbor in love, pursuing the way of peace, caring for others when they feel bruised and broken, even finding ways to treat our enemies with love, even though that's hard. And the fellowship that we have together as Christ's family and the meal that we share at his table helps us to keep going as we follow the way of Jesus in the world.